Okay, I want to welcome everyone to this presentation using Corpus-based activities to ESP students. And our presenter is Dr. Durdona Pulatova, and she's joining us from Uzbekistan today. She has 10 years experience with EFL and ESP, and EMI, and she has a CELTA certificate. She's been trained in more than 15 project types, and she's published several ESP textbooks. She has presented with TESOL Arabia and with TESOL International, and her research is in ESP. Welcome, we're so happy that you are here, and I'm going to let you take over now. Welcome to our Kuwait TESOL conference.
Hello, everybody, one more time. Thank you very much, Mrs. Ann Newman, for giving a chance to give wonderful that speech at this conference. I'm so happy to deliver my session now. My name is Pulatova Durdona. I am from Uzbekistan. Today, at this session, I'm going to share my research findings at this conference. Well, so today's agenda, I would like to speak about what is DDL and DDL, the data driving learning. And then we will discuss the overview of the data driving learning, and then value and then benefits of the Corpus-based activities. And then I would like to share some examples and then materials and then tips of using Corpus-based activities. Well, if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself one by one? Where are you from? And then where do you teach? Hello?
Well, I will introduce myself. I'm Ann Newman. I'm from Kuwait, and I teach at Gulf University for Science and Technology in the Department of English Literature.
Nice to know you, Mrs. Ann Newman. And what about others? Can you introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, dear everyone. I'm from originate Uzbekistan, but I'm a doctoral student in Poland currently. So my name is Nigina Misirova, and I'm doing a PhD research currently, named Innovation in English Language Teaching in English Language Teaching in Primary Schools in Poland and Uzbekistan. So I'm glad to see you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nigina Misirova. Well, what about others?
You can always type something in the chat box if you don't want to open your microphone.
Nadire Arikan, could you please introduce yourself?
Sure. I am from Turkey, and I'm teaching at a university. And I'm interested in Corpus, so I am here to learn more about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And what about the Bushra? And then Mariam, I cannot pronounce your surname.
Hello, I'm Khansa Al-Ahmad. I'm from Syria. I live in Kuwait. I'm an English instructor. I've been teaching since 2012. Recently, I finished with the CELTA certificate. And thank God it's a pass B degree. I'm very happy. Thank you very much and best of luck.
Thank you. So it means that other participants don't want to share some information about themselves, or that some of them are writing that messages. Okay, Bushra. Yeah, I am Bushra, secondary school teacher, has MBA from Saudi Arabia. Nice to see you, Bushra. And then Somaya from Iran. I am an assistant professor of TEFL. Well, thank you very much. Well,
Hello.
hello.
Sorry for interrupting. Yeah. Hello, this is Iman Aboud. I'm an English instructor at Taif University from Saudi Arabia. And I'm interested in corpus-based studies, and I'm really glad to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Iman. Well, do we have other volunteers to introduce themselves? Okay. Thank you, Somaya. The Davar Khan. Maybe that I didn't pronounce your name well, I guess. So sorry for if I mispronounced your name. I am an educational consultant from the Oman. Nice to know you. Well, so what do you know about DDL? Oh, nobody wants to share or their opinion about data-driven learning, or you don't know? So it means that let me explain you one by one. In Uzbekistan, I conducted a research, a study with 12 English as a foreign language teachers, and then more than 150 students of English as a foreign language using DDL. DDL, that means data-driven learning. Specifically, that at this session, I will provide an overview of what DDL is and discuss the perceived values and benefits of data-driven learning, and then share that my own experiences and materials and then tips for DDL. Tim Jones, maybe that you have heard about him. Tim Jones, who created the work, who was a pioneer in DDL, data-driven learning, said that findings in corpus linguistics are too important to be handled only by researchers, and students should be language detective, asking questions and then discovering for themselves facts about language. So that in DDL, data-driven learning, there are 3 I's. The first one is illustration. At this stage, the students look at the real data, interaction, discussing and sharing opinions and observation, and introduction, making one's own rule for a particular linguistic feature. The key of distinguishing the data-driven learning from just an inductive approach in general is looking at real data. That's authentic language, usually from corpus. I will share some examples of data-driven learning in a minute when I talk about my study. As I mentioned before, in DDL learning, that the students, that there are the 3 I's. The first one is illustration. The students look at the real data. The second, they interact with their partners and then group members in order to discuss and then share opinions, and then their observation. In the introduction stage, they make their own rule for particular linguistic features. Oh. That what students can study and then investigate with data-driven learning is nearly anything related to language use. Anything you can discover in the course can have DDL constellation and supplements such as noun phrases, preposition following verbs, words with multiple or pragmatic meaning, or such as the modals, error correction, revision, and then frequent phrases in academic disciplines, tenses, or that aspect in lexical grammar, or the collocations. There are benefits that there are benefits to DDL, both from perceived value by the learners and the quantitative increase in language learning. According to my research findings, meta-analysis was conducted by Leak, and then somebody wants to attend. And the lead to study the effects of using corpora to facilitate second language vocabulary acquisition. The researchers found that data-driven learning resulted in positive effects in both the short and the long terms, though these effects were influenced by the learners' levels and then the tasks used. In meta-analysis, data-driven learning was found more effective for learners of medium and then high language, the second language proficiency, than it was for less proficient learners. But there have been individual studies which found data-driven learning success with lower level proficiencies. Students' report of increased motivation and is also a common outcome of data-driven learning. To talk about how data-driven learning, I will share my experience from my own study, which was conducted with the university level students in the EFL context of Uzbekistan, and then investigated how do students and teachers feel about using corpus-driving activities like a data-driven learning in the classroom. My study includes 12 teachers and then 166 students, ESP students. Teachers had mean teaching experience of X years, that actually some of them have got 12 years, more than the 10, more than the 12, or the 20 years. And the students were in most in the year 1 of study. 66% of their teachers reported they were not at all or only vaguely familiar with corpus linguistics or using corpus driving activities such as DDL. So the first step was instructing the teachers in the theory and then method behind DDL. To accomplish familiarity with DDL and the materials teachers would use to conduct data-driven learning activities with their students, I held a 2-hour training session which covered these 4 topics, such as brief introduction about DDL and then step-by-step instruction, information and materials, and then research information. Information for the research. For the brief introduction, I covered topics like what is corpus linguistics and questions corpora can help us answer, and how corpora can be used in the classroom and DDL. This is the material how I taught my colleagues and the ESP teachers as a trainer. First, that I explained that what's corpus linguistics, and then I explained that how the corpora that help us to teach, and then how can we use in the data-driven learning. For the step-by-step instruction, I reviewed linguistic features of the verb make, which was the topic of the lesson. So you can see that here, as a teacher trainer, I explained them that we chose that one topic that called it make, that they had to teach that the verb make, 2 meanings of the word that make. That's why that I chose this one. And I take some grammar patterns taken from the pattern grammar, and I explain 2 meanings which they are going to look at their lesson are the question and then cause something or that have authority. And I discussed how to work with concordance lines. Maybe that you are familiar with the concordance lines. Can you tell me that what is concordance lines? Who knows what the concordance line is? Hello?
I think when they don't say anything, that means that they don't know.
They don't know. Okay, well.
Hello, excuse me.
Hello?
So I believe it's it's a line of text taken from a corpus itself. So I'm not sure if this is true.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Well, that here, that if you wanted, I will also explain you. Even that the teachers, and the first that when I was going to give the instruction to the ESP teachers, that they didn't know about corpus and then concordance lines. And that's why that I gave them that 2-hour training about the corpus linguistics and then how to make corpus-based activities. So that concordance lines is that the line with that which you are going to which is taken from corpora or that corpus. So that the topic was make. That's why that I chose that 15. Oops, Sorry. That's why that I chose that 15 the concordance lines from two different types of the corpora. And the first one is Michigan, the second one is at Longman. And I discussed how to work with concordance lines, the illustration component of the data driving learning, where the students look at the real data, the language data, and then remember that is data driving learning. Students become language detectives, asking questions and discovering for themselves facts about language. An important component of the step-by-step instructions was also having teachers complete the data-driving learning activity themselves. So the teachers became language detectives just like their students would. First, the teachers or the students read all the sentences Can you have a look? All the sentences. And then can you tell me the word which comes after make or that made? What part of the speech comes after made here?
Hello, I can see now, for example, in sentence number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4 as well.
So what part of the speech that comes after make or that or made?
Nouns.
Nouns, yeah, exactly. Nouns, thank you. So I also that they also that told nouns. After reading all the sentences, and they noticed that what they had in common. If you paid attention that all of the sentences here, that 8 or that more than, I chose that more than that 10, but you can only see that 8 sentences, that 8 concordance lines here. If you have noted that the noun, in all of the sentences, noun comes that are coming that after make. So full sheet included 15 examples of examples taken from COCA and Corpus Temporary American English. So that first task was that the teachers or the students should circle that any forms of the make, and then they have to underline next word after make, as you can see. And then, but in this way, they can discover the formula linguistic feature. On this example, the students or the teachers looked at the real data and discussed and shared opinions and observations, and they made their own rule for a particular linguistic feature of make. And then I give that next example with another meaning of make plus pronoun and then bare infinitive, that which means the cause. They discovered two that linguistic features of make. If your students were doing this activity, they have trouble here, you could give them hint to look at the verb. After circling make, students should underline the word to the right of make. So students have looked at the real data, been detective to note the language, and know they should discuss and then share opinions, observation for interaction. So that after brief introduction and a step-by-step instruction, we then share the information and materials for the activities. So that I gave them this pattern grammar exercise, all of them that were based on that corpus. In addition to the concordance lines, material include worksheets from Collins Copilt pattern grammar website. The worksheets presented and reinforced the patterns students had already found and then helped them practice those patterns in highly and moderately controlled activities. I want to return quickly to value and benefits of using the data-driven learning. As I mentioned, that short and long-term positive effects for increase in language learning were found, but my study also looked at the perceived value by teachers and students of these activities. I asked the students to respond to a questionnaire in which they shared their feelings about participating in these type of activities by responding to Likert scale questions and also provide their thought why two open-ended questions. And also, I did the same for teachers, asking their perception of the activities by both Likert scale response and open-ended question. Overall, I found that students agreed across the board that they enjoyed the activity. They learned a lot from the activity. This activity was more useful than regular activities. They want to do this kind of activity again. This activity can help learn English effectively. And they share such comments as create this activity with other words too. For example, have, beneficial, and that we can learn very quickly. This type of method should be implemented more. Likewise, teachers agreed that they felt strongest that students learned from the activities. And the teachers agreed that students were able to understand and complete the activity. The students were receptive to the activity. Students learned from the activity, and they, teachers, should use corpus driving activities regularly if available. Corpus driving activities can help students effectively learn English. And they share such comments as using such exercise is very easy to explain the topic, and they would like to get such activities again. In conclusion, data-driven learning allows learners to be language detectives, asking questions and discovering for themselves facts about language. In the process of data-driven learning, students engage industry eyes, looking at the concordance lines, discussing and share opinions and observations, make their own rule for the linguistic features. I recommend the Collins Copilt pattern grammar website for various material that investigate grammar patterns. I also recommend that you use the corpus of contemporary American English to find authentic real language use for students to investigate. Another recommended site for using data-driven learning for word pattern is Sketch Engine. I create corpus for psychology students and made them search some words from specialized corpus. One tip is, as a teacher, to familiarize yourself with data-driven learning and get comfortable with it before you try it with your students. That was important consideration in our study we shared. Also, be patient and persistent. It will take time for you to increase your comfort level, and it can take time for students as well. Move slowly but consistently. So that use these references. If you wanted to get that, I can share the materials with you. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
You can either open your microphone to ask a question or to type it.
So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you, Nigina. Thank you. So do you have any questions relating to corpus-based activities or data-driven learning?
Okay, what I have done is you will notice I have just in the chat box put the link for if you want a certificate for attending the conference. You need to click on that and fill out the information. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, what I want to remind you is that this session has been recorded and it will be uploaded to the TESOL Kuwait website and later to our YouTube channel. Okay, you do have a question here, Doctor.
Okay, so that
much
Iman that
time-
asked one question about
Yes,
how much
Iman?
time it was taken to know that your students had enough training session before starting the study. Can you clarify your question? You mean that that I trained 2 hours to the ESP teachers, and then ESP teachers that conducted a class at one time. It only that took that 6 months actually. Thank you. Thank you a lot. If you have any questions, feel free I can write my email address. Feel free to ask.
Okay,
I
thank you
can
so
share
much
all
for
the
joining
materials
us.
with you.
This was a really, really good presentation. And you will notice that she has put her Gmail account there for you. Okay. Again, thank you. And I hope that you will join our next session.
Thank you.